Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below the video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show, and one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwin. How you doing, Arwin? Good to have you.
Yeah, doing good. Thanks, Nathan. Good afternoon.
Pleasure. Had a good evening?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Not a lot on.
The weather's still nice, so... Yeah.
Found any curvature? Found any curvature yet?
No, not yet. But then again, yeah, I don't really go around a lot, so... I guess I have to look for it a little bit harder to possibly even find it, but no.
We've been joined by Spurs Chemo. How you doing, Spurs?
Oh.
Hopefully he'll sort out his mic. Can't hear you.
Oh, you don't hear me.
There we go.
Hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now. Good to have you, Spurs.
Fantastic. You started already?
Yeah, we're live now.
Okay, good stuff. Where's Anthony? Where's Ranty?
Oh, they haven't made an appearance yet. It's just us three.
Right.
Okay, great stuff.
Hey Spurs, did you see my video? I put in...
No, I haven't. You want a screenshot?
No. Hey.
Joined by Sleeping Warrior. Good to have you.
Hola.
Hola,
I
indeed.
don't know when you're live. I always just join them like, oh, are you live yet? And it's like, yeah, we're live now. Be careful what you say. Kind of thing.
Did you say hola because I've got a Spanish class later?
Really?
No, it's just a form of salutation.
Oh, right.
I know
Okay.
it's Spanish and I'm not Spanish, but it's better than saying, hi, I'm Sleeping Warrior and I'm boring.
I take my kid to Spanish lessons on a Monday, which is why
You want to sound
the
continental?
show's at a weird time. That reminds me, actually, I've come to a conclusion in terms of a set time that these shows will now run. So UK time, they will run at 2 PM, or they will be running at 2 PM. So typically, I'm going to start each show at 2 PM. However, on a Monday, I have a Spanish lesson, which is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I have to get ready for that. So it'll probably start a little bit earlier, as it has done today. But it'll still be running at 2, so technically they're all running at 2. But that's what I've put in the info box on my About page for YouTube. I've put the various different time zones. I've put Australian and American on there as well, just so you can get an idea. If you don't know already what time the show will be running live, check out the About page on Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel.
Can I just give you a quick update of what's just happened with me this morning?
Go ahead.
For those of you that don't know, we were trying to get, her mother died and we got the grant of probate through and we were trying to get the money from her account into our account. And it took them like 6 weeks to do a 2-minute job. And in that 6 weeks, the funeral's been and gone. We've been paying for all the expenditure with regards to the funeral, etc. And we were waiting for the money back. And it took them 6 weeks. But when they paid us the money, they put one extra digit on the value of the money that we were supposed to get. And it was wrong. So they paid us a boatload more money than what they should have done. And obviously, they've been begging for it back. Now, it took them 6 weeks to do a 2-minute job. Guess how long it's going to take me to get them their money back? It's going to take us about 6 weeks, because it literally should have took them two. It was a 2-minute job. They said it would be done within 48 hours. Obviously, because you got to pay for the funeral, you got to get that money back. 6 weeks. So they've paid us a load of money. Now they want it back. I've said no problem. You can have it back. It's going to take me 6 weeks to sort it out. So this morning they've sent us a big but massive bouquet of flowers as an apology because they're begging for that money back. They've ignored us for 6 weeks. We've been ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and got nothing. And eventually they've paid us, but they've paid us too much. And now they're so in touch with us. They're our best friends and they want that money back. So we've got a massive bouquet of flowers, courtesy from the Yorkshire Bank. So shout out to the Yorkshire Bank, but it's still going to take you 6 weeks to get your money back, you idiots.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What goes around comes around, as they say.
Yeah. Now the shoe's on our foot and we're in control. Isn't it amazing how quick they can respond to us? They can ring us 6 times in a week. Yeah. But when we want it the other way around, nobody answers the phone. Feel a lot better today.
Good.
So what do you know, Spurs? We haven't spoken for a while. I know you were on yesterday, but we didn't really chat.
I'll just be looking at relooking at the moon landing things. See if that can change people's minds. That moon lander, we've never seen it take off from Earth. They've never tested it on, the device they used to get off the moon. So there's a whole kind of investigation in that. The lunar doors, the space that they had inside, the astronauts would have been the inside would have been too small for the astronauts' backpack and the cameras. They would have had no room to maneuver. And the door, so the door opens inwards and to the right. So they didn't show how they got out of the lunar lander. But just things like that I've been looking at, just trying to make a case for that argument. But other than that, yeah, just listening to the flat Earth debate.
I can't play your clip, Arwin. It will just get me a copyright strike. At the moment, when people play
But it's
clips,
fair
almost...
use. It's only 30 seconds.
I know, but almost without exception, even if I've played 10-second clips of stuff, it's got me a copyright strike almost every single time. So I just don't want to risk it. It'll just end up in an hour's worth of work me editing it out again.
If you were to put one of them disclaimer things at the beginning of your video, would that make a difference or not?
No, the certain producers just set up automatic systems to copyright strike anyone that has a match with their material, and I don't blame them. I mean, what Arwin's done is he's edited together a bit of a global.
No, but I mean, I think in the fair use, you can put like a disclaimer at the beginning of and just say, well, it's for educational. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
It doesn't wash, and I could just do without the aggravation. Yes, I can appeal it. There are various ways of getting around it, but I'd just rather not. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
If it's specifically relevant, so when people have used examples and said, here is my specific example, I look at it in the little box at the bottom and go, that's relevant to the conversation. So whether or not I get a copyright strike is kind of irrelevant because it's a debate show and that's what they're presenting. So I still do present them. However, every time I've done it, I've got a copyright strike, so I'm far more reluctant.
Yeah, definitely. Just don't bother showing it. Like, absolutely.
It's just a simple golden rule of thumb. Just only use your own material. Because it does peeve me, if I'm honest, when I see other videographers that just edit together other people's stuff, and they'll have a whole channel that's basically almost none of it their material. It's all their editing. But so what? Going out and gathering material is an expensive, time-consuming process. So to just say, well, I'll just download this from YouTube and hack it up and put it together as my own, is to me unfair. If I was the one producing that material with the camera in my hand, I'd be annoyed.
No, yeah. Editing is a big deal. So yeah, just don't bother doing it. Yeah, just.
Oh well. Anyway, if you guys want to look at it, I put it in the masturbators link chat. On Skype.
I will say I appreciate the sentiment though. It was about me, so in one way, I'm really touched, Darwin.
Yeah. It's just it's too bad that you're not going to show it because I thought it was a pretty good message to put out there as to what happens if a glober gets in here and starts to declare they're scientists and they're smarter than us. And well, the video shows pretty much what's going to happen when they do. So yeah, if you're on Skype and you're in that chat, then take a look at my video.
I mean, we can't do any more than you know, wait around for the ball Earth proof. If somebody thinks that they can obviously prove the shape of the Earth, it should be an easy thing to do. Take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, demonstrate. Becoming a problem for the ball Earth. Trying to prove it with science. So, flat Earth just seems to be at a level now. But yeah, there's nothing more you can do apart from just wait for the discussion to happen. Where if they think they can prove it, you know, we welcome it.
You don't think that's unreasonable? That's an unreasonable standard to have, though, on account of the fact that they've had 2,000 years to prove it, and they already accept it anyway. So surely there's dozens of proofs that have been verified and done dozens of times that could just be presented to us, and yet every single time it's you can do this going forward.
Yeah, but I think they think we're missing something. We're not getting something. That I'm still trying to find out what that is. You know, they're saying that we just don't understand, or we need to have something to know it. We still haven't established what that actually is. They say go and look at this, go and do this, but it still hasn't changed opinion. So I'm still curious to know what it is they think that we're not actually seeing. I mean, we've explained the horizon. Things at the horizon cannot be clear. You can't make them out. You'd be in dispute, so you have to throw that out. Gravity, just an idea, hasn't been proven. So if we're missing something, I would like to know what it is. Yeah. I'm still in there. Yeah.
Did you see Slice Barkane yesterday come in and make a right pig's ear of his experiment?
No. What did you make of Reds and Antonio's debacle?
Reds?
What did you? Have you not seen it? About the triangles, the calculations with the ISS.
No, I don't bother with Reds. I don't bother with Antonio either, to be honest.
Okay.
Why, what was the issue?
Well, I don't know. Antonio was just saying that he didn't triangulate it right, and Reds are saying that he triangulated it correctly, and they didn't make the correct right angles when they were measuring it, and so on. So I'm just wondering if they were going to dispute it, finalize it, or just keep making comeback videos. Are they going to actually discuss?
I honestly don't know what you're talking about, so I'm not sure. I reckon we should change topic on that basis because I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's just the latest discussion, isn't it? It's just the latest talking point. You know, Reds is tracking the ISS, and he's being told it's not being tracked correctly. So therefore, everything is off. I would just like to hear the outcome, that's all. I just thought you guys had seen it and had an opinion of it.
Hey, by the way, I was watching Globebusters yesterday. It was pretty good. I liked the subject. And yeah, in chat, I pretty much figured out a new terminology based on psychology that I would like to coin before some other person takes that away from me. And that is the concept of physicality assumption bias. And what physicality assumption bias basically is the effect in the people's psyche to automatically, at first glance, assume that if they see something, which could be a physical object or a light-based phenomena, that what they are seeing is indeed a physical thing. And I think that really is something. I think that people do have a biased tendency to, at first, assume that if they see something, that it must be a physical thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just putting that out there. Physicality assumption bias. It's a psychological effect, and I'm coining it.
Of course, when you have the more intelligent ballers, that works in contradiction with itself, and they have cognitive bias added to the mix. And then you have people like Nick L, who sees things that are not really there.
Mm-hmm. But it applies on more than just the heavenly bodies, which I will obviously use it for, but it will also apply to, well, hologram technology. And also, let's just say, if you see an image in the distance, and this is used in magician trickery, if you see an image in the distance,
Oh, we have a new
and
guest,
you don't
Jamie.
really, no, this is control, and you don't really know what you're looking at,
We have a new guest,
then
Jamie.
if it looks like it could be like a 3D tunnel, or, for example, but it is in actuality a painting, then at first glance you will actually assume that it is a tunnel. You might then start to conclude differently if you inspect it more closely, but the first assumption that your psyche will give you is that it is a physical, literal thing that you're looking at. So it applies not just to the heavenly bodies, it will also apply to holographics and visual trickery.
I completely
And I
agree
think
with you,
that's going
Arwen,
to be
but
pretty relevant even in the
I agree
future
with you,
when
but I just want to add that what you're describing is things that are non-physical. So, like the heavenly bodies, as you phrase it, those are non-physical. Or they're intangible things that you're describing, and yet the counter is true with tangible things like lighthouses. So on the ground, where we can physically go over and check these things, as I say, people like the Rumpus, Nick L, will see something which should not be there in their model and assume that they are looking at an apparition, something which isn't physically there, it's just looming, right? Well, that's the complete contrast of what you're saying. But it's normally only the people who get more indoctrinated and consider themselves to be more intelligent who will do the complete opposite of what you're describing.
No,
When it
but
comes to reality,
a
that is.
different effect applies there, and that is that these people are obsessed with the model, and that causes them to basically approach the thing from a theoretical perspective where what they are observing is supposed to fit their model. So that's slightly different. Now, the physicality assumption bias is basically a non-cognitive psychological effect. So it doesn't really have to do much with reason. It's just the automatic assumption, the first reaction, the first response. It's a very base response, instinctive response even. If you're seeing something, that it is going to be physical. And then only upon closer inspection could you figure out that it might not be physical. But it's going to start out with that assumption psychologically. So you're correct, Nathan.
Yeah, we're both correct. I agree with you.
Indeed.
We're both on the same page.
Yep.
But yeah. Crazy old world of reality that these guys live in. You know, the reality can be not really there, and the non-physical, non-variable can be absolutely physical, real objects, even though they're intangible, quite by definition. Oh wow, that was a fast sniper. Looks like we're getting a new hangout. So I've started up a new Hangout. Hopefully we'll get a few guests return. I won't publish the link for about 5 minutes, as all we seem to have at the moment is trolley snipers. Yeah, I've put it in Skype for those who want to rejoin. Hopefully Chemo, Arwin and Sleeping Warrior, if you could jump back in off the Masturbators chat. Hi Arwin, how's it going?
Yeah, that sniper was pretty quick.
Yeah, he was fast, man. I suppose.
I was in mid-sentence then, I think.
You're quite quiet, by the way, Spurs.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Yeah, I was in mid-sentence. Yeah, the snipers, they're not going to stop. They have a reason. Their reason is to shut down the flat Earth debate. Yeah, so I was discussing this with the ballers, and they were saying that we don't have faith in mankind. Our faith is too little, and this is the thing, that they just cannot believe that so many people would lie to them on such a huge scale. When they think about it, they say things like, well, it would take all pilots, all of NASA, all scientists, or teachers, or people in the universities. Basically, every educated person, they see it as they're lying to us. And I've kind of answered it like, well, it's not a case of how could they lie? How could they be so smart, intelligent to do this? It takes a dumbing down of a population. You need a dumb population. If the population are not thinking, you could tell them any shape. You could tell them they live anywhere, and give them the math, the science to support it. So that's what they need to recognize. It's not that they're so, well, yeah, it is a clever plan, but it's not that they're so clever. It's more that the people, they've been dumbed down. I saw on YouTube a video where they were asking Americans, when did America become independent? When was the Civil War? Who won the Civil War? Things like this. And, they couldn't answer. They were asking who is the vice president of America and so on. They were like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Then they asked something like, who is Brad Pitt married to? They were like Angelina Jolie or something. They were like, who was he married to before? And they were like, oh, Jennifer Aniston. So that's the kind of thing that we're dealing with here, is that people don't know their history. They don't know what's going on. Television, they watch television. They could tell you all the stars. So it's not about how would they do this lie. They simply do this lie by indoctrinating, by replacing your natural thinking thoughts with, what they want you to think.
Well, they try to insert a culture and make it popular, and that culture that they inject to make popular, to popularize, they make it as vapid as possible, so that people start to obsess over things that nobody really learns anything from, that are just hollow popular concepts. And by the way, I have to disagree with you that we do not have faith in mankind. I definitely do have faith in mankind, and I have faith in the individual. What I do not have, however, is a blind trust in any man and in mankind. But I do have faith that man can be better, and that a person can grow and can overcome obstacles of any kind.
Well, that's why I say that.
Well,
that's kind of why I say. I mean, a lot of the teachers, most of the teachers, the professors, they do things out of good faith. They're not trying to deceive anybody. They're just following a protocol. So it's not that they are actually lying to us. The pilots, they're not. They're following a path. So I was alluding to, it's not like the pilots are just, they have a free reign over the skies. Like, an international pilot can just get in his jumbo jet and just fly anywhere he likes. He has to follow a particular path. Yes. So he's not going to suspect, anything suspicious, right? So no, they're not lying. They just don't think about it. They just stay on their path. So yeah, it's the people who obviously write the education system, the curriculum, who give the papers, the peer review, what they discuss. They say things like, well, it's been peer reviewed, the community accepts it. This seems to be a very small community. We don't know exactly who.
Panels and think tanks.
Right, that's what I mean.
That program our
anonymous,
society.
right?
That program what popular culture is, what knowledge, true knowledge is supposed to be, and yeah, that's what they do.
Because I mean, if you think about it, the borders are not that, stupid. They know water doesn't curve over huge bodies. They know this. They know gravity is not a real thing. They know this.
No.
This. A lot of the things in the heliocentric model, they know takes a certain amount of belief.
Yes.
So for them, it's more to the point, like I say, the deception. They just want somebody to walk them through of how it could be done.
They know there are a lot of theoretical assumptions grounded in the science that goes around, and that a lot of people basically are spending their life on busying therapy to extend a theoretical doctrine on what it might be. That is that is what science has been focusing on for a greater part.
Do a very quick link, as we have approximately 1.5 hours left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course. Massive thank you to all who've shared already. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there's about 1.5 hours left on this live stream.
Yeah, so I would like to get back again for a short moment to the concept of gravity. I find it a pretty bit disappointing that you would still deny that it is a thing, as I pretty much in the discussion yesterday with Riley proved that it is a thing. But again, let's make the clear distinguishment between gravitational pull and gravity, because gravitational pull is a theoretical assumption as to what causes gravity, which there is no proof of, but gravity is just an effect. It is a acceleration-alike force that seems to be applied to all things on Earth, and it is absolutely provably there. But yeah, the thing is, the entire word of gravity has been completely, conflated, has been tied in with the gravitational pull concept. So everybody culturally automatically assumes that if you're talking about gravity, you're talking about gravity caused by gravitational pull. And this is just a problem, because gravity is still there.
Gravitational pull, and this is just a problem.
God damn. Snipers are just too quick for me today. Hi, Spares. We'll just allowing.
Hello. All right. You hear me? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
They sniped everybody, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I know, within a second. I got to him really quickly and he still managed to get everyone out. Amazing.
You really want to do it on a Discord? I mean, they can't snipe at all. You know,
Yeah, but
Hangouts. They're definitely designed.
You've got to be a part of Discord.
Hmm?
It's its own platform. Like, this is its own platform.
Okay.
So you've got to be part of Discord in order to do that, right?
Okay. You don't have it?
It's not that I don't have it. It's just in order to join, you've got to join up to Discord. Whereas if you want to join this show, the link is still public, even though the snipers joined and got you two out. A member of the public can still click that link and just join, as long as they've got a YouTube account. Which, let's be honest, most people are watching on YouTube. And if they're just watching and they've got absolutely no intention of participating in anything on YouTube, they don't have a YouTube account. So therefore they're not going to want to join. But the people who do have a YouTube account and leave comments, they're the people who may well join, and they can just join by clicking the link in the info box. If I start using Discord, they've got to jump through several hoops just to join the show.
No, what I was just thinking, it seems to be, you know, the way kind of forward. I mean, I think people are starting to understand how it works now. You know, I was very apprehensive originally when it first came out. But I think you should have, well, again, I just think both options would, just like, you know, it would work. You would get...
Hello.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, little warning, by the way, the fake owl rave is in chat.
Okay.
And he just said that he sniped me. So...
Is that so?
Yeah, well, he's obviously fake because he said that I was acting more gay than he was, so that doesn't sound like real owl rave.
I see. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Chemo, about Discord. I'm just dead against it. I mean, the show is what it is. That's how it runs. And, you know, if people get sniped, there's nothing I can do about that. That's a YouTube issue. And that's fine. If they want to leave it as is, that's part of the show. I know it's a pain in the ass. I've had this conversation with Shane and with Anthony, and obviously not with you. But yeah, it's just one of those things. If it's like today and there's 2 shows sniped and you've got to rejoin twice, I won't get you to do that. You can rejoin the second hangout. And then if you get sniped again, it's unreasonable to keep getting you rejoining. So I just bring you back in on Skype. I mean, I don't have Nummy on Skype. Hopefully I'll get him on Skype soon, and then same principle will apply. If he gets sniped, hopefully he'll join the next one. But I wouldn't not understand if he was like, sod this.
I can see that you're just reluctant to get it. You're just like, no, I'm not going to use it.
I've got it. I've got Discord. I've got Discord and I use Discord. I don't like it, but I do use it and have got it. I just don't want to use it on this platform, because then it's like adding another platform to an existing platform that has all of the facilities to do exactly what I want. It has a fundamental flaw, and presumably Google don't want to change it, otherwise they would have done it. It's been the same since I've been broadcasting. You know, for minimum 3 years, it's been exactly the same. There's only, you know,
for minimum 3 years, it's been.
So there we go. See if we've lost Nummy already. You still with us, Nummy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but that's just the way it is. You know, some people like to watch that. That for some is part of the show, and they like that entertainment aspect of people sniping. You know, great if that's what they enjoy. Sad, but fine. Whatever tickles your fancy.
And on the other hand, we are constantly. It is an open criticism. We are basically showing that we have a very competitive, interesting show that treats real subjects and real science and the concept of science, and that because of Google's flaw, that this is happening. So it is an open criticism to Google, like, hey, when are you going to do something about it? Because this is what your flaws is causing. And people are going to take note of it. We talk about it. So come on, Google. Let's fix it already. Come on.
Or not. Like I say, Arwin, maybe some people actually tune in to see that happen. And if that's the case, you know, I'm making YouTube videos. First and foremost, I'm a YouTube videographer. You know, so Discord for me is a useful platform for gamers to communicate to each other. That's its main point. The fact that people use it to add an extra layer to YouTube, I don't want to put that extra layer between me and people who want to join. Now, the consequence of that choice is that snipers can also join, which, as I say, I've got no control over. That's a Google issue, and I'm using their platform, and I'm very grateful for it. You know, I think it's a wonderful platform, and if they choose to keep that flaw, so be it. That's their choice, not mine.
Of course, but they could very easily fix it and even keep in the concept of sniping if they like, by just adding a moderator concept, like a moderator flag that you, as the organizer of the hangout, could hand out to participants. And if you then open up the moderator key to the public, yeah, then everyone could come in and snipe, and that could be all fun and everything, be hilarious. But if you don't want it, then you could prevent it. Just saying, you know, free market options. Options are good. Lack of options are not good.
Indeedy. Yeah, you guys are now, you know, on Skype. The conversation continues. The show will go on. If it's 2 hours of very quiet conversation and very slow because snipers have joined, then, you know, I can't control the audience. So, you know, that's down to the people in the audience, you know, chuck tomatoes at the audience.
Well, I mean, I just think it's kind of, how to say, so the people who want to join, you know, they're going to be put off because they're going to think, well, I can't, you know, last more than 5 minutes without being sniped. You see, and not everybody can be added on Skype, whereas, you know, a different platform, you could get everybody. I don't think Google want to fix this. This has been a problem for years now, and you know, they just allow it to happen.
I think it's slightly different. I think that at one point there may have been a fix, and then management chose to not implement it. I think that is the case. Okay, Google is a very.
What's going on, Spurs?
What is
going
that?
Crazy.
Okay, Google is a very big company, and not all of the employees in there are going to be in agreement with how to manage things, and some will be very politically biased about certain aspects, and others will be very free-minded and just want a great open platform that functions correctly and all that. So there's going to be divisions, and yeah, it all depends on who is in control mostly. So it may still change at some point. They may actually fix it. I really hope they do, because that would also be very nice for me. Then I could basically create Hangouts and put the Google links in the chat without having all these complicated systems required to have those set up in order to not get porn bombed and all that crap. And yeah, now I'm not really doing that because it's just a lot of hassle.
Yeah, but you could learn how to watch the back door. You know, pick up a rifle, Arwen. That would be helpful.
I tried it. Didn't work out. And
yeah, but at the moment,
besides,
that's
it is
your
a
only
lot of
alternative.
hassle. The thing is, because the system is flawed the way it is, there need to be dedicated guards, basically, and it's not even a guarantee that will prevent
you know,
situations.
I just think a topic as important. Oh, sorry. the neighbour. They're drilling in the wall. I don't know what.
Oh
they're doing
right,
there.
it sounded like you were wired up to some sort of electrocution machine. And
Yeah. So a topic is no, they're going to start again.
We were talking about the flaws in the Google Hangout system, and that if people now want to have an open platform the way Nathan does, then there need to be dedicated guards basically in order to keep the show running, and that's not even a guarantee that it will keep running, as we've seen, because snipers get very quick and creative to get people out despite the guards. And yeah, it's just a hassle. It's all unnecessary. It is kind of amusing, I guess, but it detracts from the actual subject.
hold on one sec, Arwin. Netty Voyager, can you say hello? 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 How you doing? How you doing?
Echo.
Can you hear us, Netty?
You're echoing, Nathan.
Yeah, it's Netty. I think you've got your watch page open. Anyway, you guys carry on. Hopefully we'll hear from Netty.
Yeah. So flat Earth is such an important subject. It should not be controlled. I mean, obviously, Google, they, what is their position? Are they ballers? They're seeing the discussion, so it shouldn't be in the control of people who are going to distort, the argument, and so we should make every means, every opportunity possible to let people speak, because people actually want to hear the debate. They want to hear the argument. There are a lot of people on the fence. The fence sitters are key. They think authority will tell them, if the flat Earth is correct or incorrect. So that's why I always think the debate is important. So this sniping thing, they're just going to control the discussion this way.
On the contrary, we're having a conversation right now, and there's the hangout is still public. People can still join. It makes no difference. We're still having a conversation. So
yeah, but it's not as open.
But
it's not as open as it could have been, because you also openly say you would like to get in some new people, but this way, because of the snipers, people are basically being forced to really get closer eventually, or they'll just get sniped. Nobody even knows who they are. We don't really trust their accounts because we don't recognize them, so they're more likely to get kicked before they can even say something, even if they aren't trolls. And this is just a problem, because only people that are really like, oh yeah, I am going to now get involved in this, and that means that I will eventually get on Skype just to really, really get through. And it's only going to be those people that we eventually end up with. And it's just a missed opportunity for the people that are a little bit more shy. And that's...
And if we remember the debates of the past, we had there were full panels before people knew what sniping was, but it was before it was a thing, before people it was just one or two people.
It's always been a thing. It's always been
Sorry?
a thing.
No, it's always been a thing, but not as popular as as it is now. It seems like everyone's grandmother and their cat knows how. Oh, sorry.
But as I say, there is a way around it. You can also snipe. So, that's one of the things you can do. And when there are people who are willing to do that on the panel, it's a battleground to keep the open section of the hangout as open as possible. Because people want to fight with us, quite literally. And sniping isn't literal. You're not shooting anybody. So, that's the way around it. But, no offense to you, Arwin, but you're kind of unwilling to do that. So, you're now moaning about how non-public the panel is, but yesterday there was plenty of people in there because there was people willing to snipe out the trolls.
Sorry, I'm just a digital pacifist.
Fair enough. But
No, the thing is, I'm just not good at it.
You can't moan about it and then say, "Well, I'm a pacifist." It's like, well, okay,
No.
well, don't moan about it then. That's how the show is. It's not been any different in 198 shows. That they've all been like this. But on some days, it's the case that the battle is won by the flat earthers. Sometimes it's not. That's just the way it goes.
No, but I don't have any problem with that. It's just that I'm not very good at doing that thing. Riley seems to be very good at it. You're very good at it.
I don't. Do
I
it.
haven't
I
really
can't do
figured it out yet.
I don't do it.
Really learned how to shoot. So
yeah, I can't do it. That's the problem. I can eject people from the hangout as the host, but I can't snipe people, and that's very intentional. There's that section I've kept out of. It took me a long time to figure out how to be in a position where in the hangout you can't snipe me. So as the host, the show will continue always because, like I say, with a huge amount of effort, I managed to figure a way around it. So if you join the hangout, you don't even see me in there. So you can't snipe me. I'm not snipeable. So the show will continue and it will remain public and people can still join. If people choose to sit and lurk in the back chat, I know people in the current chat know who it is. It's one individual. Well, if that one individual wants to prevent people joining the public chat, well, that's his bag. The show will continue. We are still having a conversation via Skype. If we're criticised for having a circle joke, no. In a minute I'll do another link and I will say exactly the same thing, which is to say that the public link is public. You can still join.
The thing is also, I really like to just talk and discuss the subjects. And if I'm going to be looking in the back door, basically sniping potential trolls, that's going to severely distract me and basically disable me from the conversation. I'm not going to be able to pay attention.
All right. How do you think I feel,
the subject
Alan?
requires
That's nice.
my full
That's
attention.
lovely. I mean, you want a really easy life, right? Sat in front of me at the moment is 2 screens full of software running. I'd love to have a conversation and have nothing to do too. That would be lovely. But as you're pointing out, you're moaning about the fact that you can't have that and saying, well, I want to do nothing and just have it perfect without any effort. It's like, oh, right. Well, good for you, mate. Lucky old you. I'd like to be in that position too.
That's not really how I intended that at all. It's a complaint to Google. It's like they're the one that creating the hassle. It's very good of you that you do actually take all that effort. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that, like, I wouldn't be very good at it because I'm really about the actual conversation, about the actual thinking process. If I'm going to be busy with all the technicalities, that's going to severely distract me because I'm just not very good at multitasking that way. Sorry.
No, fair enough.
I'm complaining to you. I'm complaining to Google. They're the ones that are making this really difficult. They're turning the Hangouts into a wild, wild west instead of just a good regulated system where it can actually be about the conversation instead of about all this sniping nonsense.
Anyway, can we get back onto Flat Earth?
We are on Flat Earth. Everybody is.
That's true. That's true. Very well said. We are all indeed on Flat Earth.
Except if you're in an airplane.
Sorry again? Unless you're in...
if you're in an airplane, then you are not on the Earth. You're hovering over it.
We still got Spurs with this? Or is he like...
I don't know.
Having his house destroyed by drills?
They're still drilling away, unfortunately. Every time I go to mute, well, they've stopped now, but yeah, they're must be building something.
So the last time I was chatting to you, I was asking you about what you felt about what's going on there. It's just Chris constantly joining to snipe people who aren't even in the hangout. Amazing. So yeah, I was asking you last time, Chemo, about the other hangouts that you join, because you get right into the action still. I used to. I don't really anymore. I don't go on many other people's channels, but you get right in there.
Well, but that's on Discord. Mainly, you know, like I say, there is a community there. A lot of boarders who, you know, they get right stuck in to the discussion. But yeah, the same arguments are being raised. Lots of different angles, lots of new faces, lots of new voices, lots of new opinions. So yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, the debate is still there to be had.
Now it's just a little bit more like a fringe, wild west type of conversation. It kind of does remind me of the early West, where people would basically flee to America to get underneath from the empire, which was very dictatorial about information and about religion, to basically get over in America to have their new free ideas and new philosophies and discuss among one another. And when disagreeing, then shootouts happen and all that crap. So it does have its charm, let's just say it like that. But if we actually want to just progress, if we want actual real progress, then all this sniping, all this flaws in the system, it's gonna just slow it down. That's all. So
Chris,
and that's probably why they're not fixing it.
Hello?
hey
just
Nami,
to
how you
slow it
doing?
down.
Good to have you. You'll have to drop me an email, Nami. NathanOakley1980@AOL.com. Oh, I'm on mute. Hey Nami, sorry, I was on mute in the hangout. Drop me an email, NathanOakley1980@AOL.com, and I'll add you to Skype, so if you do get sniped, I can just add you. Has Nami already gone? Has he already been sniped? Let's see. So essentially what's happening is Chris MCMX, whatever he's called, has been joining for weeks and weeks and weeks to snipe everybody with various different accounts. So all the accounts that currently join to snipe are one person. And he's been doing this. He's then got in touch with Anthony Riley and said, I will stop sniping if you let me back on the show. So in essence...
Hey, I'm back.
Hey,
sorry.
Hey,
Sorry to
Nami.
interrupt. I'm just
So in
on you.
essence, he's a terrorist. He's saying, I will hold you to ransom until you let me come on your show and talk. That's what he's basically saying. So either let me come on, or I will continue to snipe indefinitely. Well, sorry, Chris. No. So, because I'm saying no, he doesn't like it. He's throwing his dummy out the pram, having a little tantrum, and joining and saying, I will end this show by sniping everybody, which is the reason he's not welcome here in the first place. So he thinks by continually doing it, it's going to suddenly mean I'm going to welcome him back with open arms. It's like, you're an idiot.
Nathan, post the link for us in the chat. Or is it? I don't see it.
In the chat?
No, here in Skype.
No
Just the link for the hang.
worries.
I'll post it.
You attacking Daddy Monster? There you go. Did you get that, Chemo?
Yeah, I got it. 1 sec. So she's don't boot.
So yeah, blame Chris. I win.
Okay, so yeah, she's on her way.
Who is it you're trying to add?
Debbie.
Is she on Skype?
No, she's gonna come in the Hangouts.
Yeah, but you can just add it to the call.
No, she's not. She's gonna come to the Hangouts.
Okay.
Oh, there's the dread again. Is the Hangout open? Yeah.
Yeah, the Hangout's open. Chris will probably snipe her immediately because he's not very happy. Not very happy.
Chris
at not
don't
being allowed to
snipe her
speak.
if she comes in.
He's going to anyway. He's like I say, he's a little baby. He's been sniping the whole show and he's in the chat saying, I won't snipe. What, if I let you talk? Yeah, that's never going to happen, Chris. You're never getting on the show ever again. You're not welcome here. You know, don't snipe continually, admit to it, and then try and hold us to ransom saying, I'll stop doing it if you let me back on. You're an idiot. You know, you don't get your own way by doing that. You know, this is the kind of thing I'm having to teach my 2-year-old. You know, the fact that you're a grown adult doing this and I'm having to tell you that throwing your dummy out the pram and continually sniping a show isn't going to get you back on it. You're a moron. Hey, Ranty, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Everything going all right today?
Yeah, I've got Chris MCM XCII, whatever he's called, sniping and going, let me back on or I'll carry on sniping.
Yeah, he's a complete prick.
Yeah, just a prick. So if this has been a boring show, that's the reason why. You know, one individual, he's a big baby.
Well, that's it. I mean, one individual can spoil it for everybody.
Sad, pathetic.
You know, I don't know what they think they're getting out of it. You know, he should go back to Discord anyway.
Yeah, go back to Discord, Chris. There you go. There he is again. These are all Chris, all these accounts that are joining. Probably managed to snipe Ranty out. We'll see.
Yeah, well, if I get sniped out, I'll bring me back in Skype. It's not going to be too much of an issue, is it?
Exactly. It doesn't stop the show running, which is what he wants to achieve, and the reason he's not welcome. But he's got a contradiction going on in his own cognition. So he's saying, I want to end the show, but let me back on and talk.
Yeah, but why? When he's with what he's threatened to do and what he has been doing, he's not exactly adhering himself to people around here, is he?
Yeah, just making the show boring for everyone else. Just accept it, Chris. You know, behaving like a toddler isn't going to get you back on the show.
Are you breaking up? I can't hear you very well.
Yeah, his attitude is, if I can't join, no one will. Pathetic.
So who else is on Skype then?
Arwin and Chemo. They're both gone a bit quiet. Chemo's got drilling going on. While it is very, very quiet, as they're not going to say hello to you, Ranty, I think I'll do another quick link. So I hope you're enjoying this rather slow debate today. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the panel, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below the video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 1 hour left on this live stream.
You attract all the nicest people in your chat, Nathan.
The nicest people?
What?
Did you say I'm back to having the nicest people in the chat?
What?
I didn't hear what you said, Ranty. My kid's clackering around, or whatever the word is.
No, it's you. You're too far away from your mic. I can barely hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's you fading in and out really bad.
Okay, I think I know what it is.
Yeah, too can't hear you.
How's that? Is that better?
I can hear you, but it's got an echo. Right, now the echo's gone.
How about now? Is that better?
That's better, yeah. Can hear you now.
Excellent.
Here we go. Should we do some shouts out? Ron
Yes.
Burgundy, hello.
Good idea.
Thanks for remembering the Ken Burn Lumberjack. Love it. I'm looking for the t-shirt, actually. Do you think you could send me one? I'd love to get one like that. Who else do we have? Baz. He's always in. Lottie. Yeah, there's the usual trolls, isn't it, that fill up the chat. But the thing is, you only get, what, about 10 trolls that come in, and the rest of them, a lot of people don't say a word, and yet you've got over 100 watching. So that tells me that there's probably 90 people.
Oh, hey, Ranty, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good.
Debbie's going to join. I don't boot her. She's going to come and say hello.
Say again, what?
Debbie's going to join here. She got kicked yesterday.
I'm on the Hangouts.
Yeah, that's where she's joining.
Yeah, so she's going to come join you.
Yeah, I'm on snipe duty now.
Yeah, but I'm saying she's going to join now, yeah? So, you understand, yeah?
Been a very unreal or surreal hangout, I've got to be honest. So, Debbie's going to join Ranty. Just don't kick her when she does.
Debbie, right, okay. Do we have a channel for Debbie? What's the channel name? Anyone?
I think Spurs has got drilling going on, which is why we're having like half a conversation with him. So, and my kid's screaming right now, so I've no idea half of what's being said.
Oh, you got a shout out from Globebusters yesterday, Bob.
Is that so?
It was, yeah.
Thanks, Globebusters.
Myself, Anthony, and you, individually named on your debate channel, got a shout out for helping to move the flat Earth forward, essentially.
Got a shout out from Bro Sanchez as well. Someone was telling me in one of the comments that in one of his shows he was saying, "Oh, when I'm not doing these shows and debating myself, I'm watching Flat Earth Debate over on Nathan Oakley's channel." I was like, "Oh, thanks, Bro Sanchez. That's nice, yeah."
And that's the thing, though. They could be in chat, but they will never say anything, because if they did, could you imagine the hate they would get given them in the chat? It's not worth it, is it, really?
Nah.
For them to even say anything. So,
no sign of Debbie Chemo.
Well, she just says she tried to join. I don't know what's happening. Just give me a minute.
Tell you what, they got nearly 2,000 people watching yesterday. You know.
Wow, 2,000 people. Oh, there's a fake account, Haunted House too. See if he takes Ranty with him.
Said that was a fake Debbie.
That was Haunted House too. Man, this hangout's got a really bizarre pace to it today. I've got to be honest.
Well, the debate's pretty much dead, isn't it? Let's face it. You know, I mean, there is no debate really. I mean, we've got things to take to the table, and the Bulls have nothing to bring to the table. So it's not really a debate, is it?
Well,
Anthony said the same thing.
There is still some debating that could be done about well, the potential proof for a gravitational pull. We never really got to continue that part. It was basically cut off during that hangout when the ballers were in here with Philip. So I think that could still be debated. I'm still curious as to what they could bring to the table as so-called proof for gravitational pull. Really?
Okay, well, does anybody have an idea as to why a certain date was picked by Sly Sparkane to do this experiment? Obviously, it was for a certain day. Does anybody know what that particular date has that should be beneficial for the ballers? You know, with his experiment that he's going to be doing. Hello.
No, no idea.
No, and it was pretty embarrassing for him yesterday watching him get destroyed on the the hypothesis argument, which is you do need a hypothesis before you actually do your experiment, and he couldn't understand that. I mean, it's literally grade school. 10-year-olds know this stuff.
Well, I don't think 10-year-olds know this, but if you want to call it a scientific experiment that would adhere to the scientific method, then you would indeed require all these things. I wonder if he even realized that. Because yeah, you can call anything an experiment, but doesn't really make it a scientific experiment, really. I wonder what was he going to experiment about. I never caught that part.
I think it's sun tracking. It's something to do with there's a reason why he wanted it on a certain date, and there's a reason why he wants certain locations to be covered, basically. But it's like they were saying, he's doing it on the azimuth, so it's essentially on a ball anyway, so it's not going to achieve anything.
Yeah, it was sun tracking indeed. He wanted to know the sun locations in relation to landmarks and all of that with specific times. Yeah. Still don't see how that's going to prove the shape of the Earth, though.
Okay, so she's just having trouble with the link. She's just trying. I've sent the link in the description is the main link. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just trying that again.
I think that's how you got in, isn't it, Ratty?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I got in with that link.
I think she's just trying to figure it out.
Check 1 2. Check 1
Hey,
2.
sir.
Hi, sir. Welcome.
Yeah. What's up, gentlemen?
Hi, Debbie. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
Is she
real Debbie? Hello. Good to have you.
Oh, nice meeting you. I've seen your familiar with your channel. Seen a few of your debates. So it's nice to meet you.
You too.
Yes, Debbie, Nathan, Debbie. Oh, and Isa. Is that Isa there?
Hi, Nathan.
Yeah, Isa and
yeah.
is also
hello,
here.
Debbie. Hello, everybody. What's up, Spurs?
Hello, everybody.
And Arwin, last but not least.
And Arwin, yes, of course. Arwin, Debbie, Arwin. And Ranty, Debbie, Debbie, Ranty.
Hiya, Debbie.
Hello. Hey, so, Isa, you got any new strategies in how to help the Globers?
Yeah, I'm here for the ball.
Right, excellent.
Cool. Well, let's get this going.
Yeah, I've been hearing been trying to tighten up with the ballers argument, try to help our brothers out on the other aisle. You know, I figure I kind of treat this like we're like the Congress or something. You know what I mean? Like we have our brothers, my esteemed brother across the aisle. You know, I feel like it's almost like Parliament. So here's the thing, right? It's like, I don't want to stop. I know maybe Debbie had something to say. I know you guys wanted to talk to her. And if that's the case, I don't want to get in the way of that either. But I will make a grand case for the ball.
I'm sure we've heard your sock account tell us that satellites aren't real on a recording, Debbie.
Yeah, I can barely hear y'all. Okay.
Well, look, a lot of people want to know in the chat, is Debbie a flat earther? What is her position? So just tell them, Debbie, where you live, how you understand where you live. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm over here in the USA, Eastern Virginia. Been looking at the flat Earth, for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I sub to many channels. I believe that we've been lied to on a major scale, and there's the motive behind it. And I looked at the history of the ball, where it came from, on the philosophical views, theosophy, through the Greeks. And the helium model, I think, is just it's incorrect.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing any evidence of curvature. I've been looking into that, looking down many avenues. Is there anything that supports this ball? And I'm not finding anything.
Well, I mean, we got Isis here. He can tell you or explain to you at least give you the arguments for the heliocentric model. So I don't know if you've met Isa. Yeah. Have you spoke? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the
Isa,
name.
Isa, this is a good chance, no? Hey, for you to exercise.
Yeah. It's just
the
come
other
back
side
to
of
the
the ball,
ball,
right?
Debbie. It feels so good to just be spinning again.
No, it's a whimsical world. No, it's not reality.
Well, isn't that just
I'm
evidence?
I'm looking at what the ancients taught. They taught for thousands of years, and then until the Greeks, the tables sort of turned, and so was focused on the Greeks and what their worldviews. I think it's incorrect. I think that there was like some of the myths back then. I think they've been debunked. They taught us in school that was falling off the ends. That the flat Earth was silly, and we didn't have a chance to look into it. And now that I've looked into it for 3 years, I'm seeing more evidence that we live on a flat Earth. It's non-rotating.
Right, but do you understand how people came to the conclusion of the idea that there would be a ball Earth?
This would be a Greek notion. I mean,
well, no, it's actually well, historically, it's just a scientific notion. It's not a nationalistic notion. But you're correct, though. There were early Greek philosophers that did believe the Earth had to be a ball based on. Somebody has an echo.
Well, it started out with philosophy, basically, and the Greeks are known to be very open-minded, experimental philosophers.
They were also superstitious. They had their deity was Zeus.
Right. What I'm talking about, though, is the deduction. Like, I have no problem with the idea of the historicity. Like, for instance, like the Babylonians, who were flat earthers. Check 1, 2. I think Ranty, I'm getting an echo from, but I saw like the Babylonians. They mapped the zodiac, and they were flat earthers. Oh, it's Oakley. That's where it's coming from.
Oh, they were very smart at their time.
Yeah, well, no, that they deduced over time the understanding of from what they went to like flat to round, to this idea of round based on the optical perception of boats appearing to go over a particular horizon. And what we've discovered is that, like, for instance, a lot of flat earthers are under the impression that the way to measure the distance, the curvature or something like this, is based on 8 inches per mile squared. And the idea is that there is an alternative way. Have you heard I'm sure maybe if you're familiar with the argument that that's not the correct way to measure the curvature. The correct way would be to recognize that 1 degree in arc of curvature would be 69 miles. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard all the arguments. So I'm saying if you're believing that the boat is going over a curve, I have to see evidence of that curve.
What is it now? Forgive me.
That's my understanding of it, is that you're not going to see it from the ground. You have to go further up in altitude. So I'm looking at all the evidence. It's undeniable to me that there's it's a flat horizon. It meets eye level. The only curve that I'm seeing is balloon footage with fisheye lens, camera distortions and whatnot. So I'm like, at what point am I going to be able to see this curve? Any kind of curvature to the horizon, or in all directions. The Earth, you claim, is a ball, so there should be some symmetry in all sides, and I'm not seeing any curvature in either direction. 360 view.
We'll check it out, though.
So what type of evidence? I'm just saying, what do you have that shows this curve, this alleged curve?
Well, my point is
I would like to take it a step beyond that.
Oakley, we're getting killed by your echo somehow.
I'd like to take it a step beyond that, and it is seems to be some apparent curve.
We've got looming shadow.
Oh, this audio is. Wow.
Is that you, Ranty, or is that a fake Ranty?
No, it's me.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I didn't hear anything.
With Chrome.
Any
Alrighty.
proof
Check
that
1,
that
2.
apparent
Okay, so
curve is
what we're
actually
dealing
physical?
with is the idea that there is obstruction. And the idea is, now granted, we're both using an optical, what I've titled, what's called an optical phenomena, which is we're watching this particular, what appears to be a flat horizon to us, but may, as like, because here's the hypothesis I've kind of been working on in this sense is that historically what we've done is try to recognize that we share a uniform science throughout the universe. And that being said, our observations as we, like, let's say, as we moved beyond the Babylonians, excuse me, the bologna sandwiches, what do you call it? We, after we got through that, we went to recognize that observing the universe around us leads us that if we do share a common physics, if we do share a common...
Nathan!
Well, if you want to get into the physics, let's just deal with the water itself. So,
well, no, my point is that,
you know,
the congruity is...
No. Let's go to the physics of water and how it behaves on... you see the water out there. I'm not seeing any evidence of it curving in any shape or form.
Well, have you seen, like, meniscus, like water tension and stuff?
Yeah, I tried to do some experiments trying to curve water, put it in a bottle, push it up from the bottom. It goes to one side to the other.
Well, what's interesting is actually water has the effect of having a concave meniscus. So if water has the effect of having a concave, if I'm not mistaken, or is it a convex?
Yeah, you are mistaken.
Meniscus?
That's actually surface tension that causes that effect. And
right,
if
and that's because
the body of water is larger, then that surface tension decreases in its power.
Right, but it would be... It's more to do with... Let me see here.
The audio is terrible here.
Conversely, I'm reading from a page. I've been looking into this meniscus stuff, and the idea is that a convex meniscus occurs when particles in the liquid have a stronger attraction.
Yeah, but that's surface tension. It's a separate effect. If you scale it up, then the surface tension effect decreases in relation. So in the minuscule, a water droplet will automatically shape itself into a sphere-like shape, but that's because of the surface tension. If you scale that up, the amount, then that no longer applies. And it actually levels out into a flat surface, measurably flat. Hello?
Chris is hell-bent to remove anybody that's in the public hangout. Just that Ranty.
Huh. Yeah, let's just make a little mention here. DTBMPR says the antiquator. Yep, the antiquator is a concept, as there is an equator where the sun is at its highest. Then there should be an antiquator where at the pole points where they are, presumably points, but they don't necessarily have to be, where it is at its lowest. And then the antiquator is basically the theory that if you move on beyond this, if there is any landmass to move on to beyond, which we have no direct confirmation of, but it seems to be hints at that, then the process should continue moving again towards another equator beyond that. So
check 1, 2.
The antiquator is basically the heavenly body exact opposite of the equator. And I personally believe, and my model suggests this, that there should be 2 equators, separate equators, as there are at least 2 antiquators that are obviously in different locations.
How did we go from like in 5 minutes to antiquators? Forgive me, I missed. I got dropped.
Just somebody dropped that in chat, and I thought I'd respond to that.
Got it. Yeah, I'm just gonna get back to this this notion of the uniform. The hypothesis is that we share a uniform science in the universe, in my opinion, and that the idea is that we've deduced over time that we live on a ball, but it was never confirmed specifically until, let's say, the moon landings. But the scientific observations that we have today lead us to believe that like our assumptions were correct and that they were proved correct when we went to the moon. Now, the thing is that were those presumptions correct, and can we come to the conclusion without NASA? And that's where a lot of people are up in arms about this, because they believe, like a lot of people believe that we can prove that it's a ball, but really it's just this honest interpretation of the facts. And the idea is that if we're living in a ball and we're spinning, and this is what it appears to be from our observations and from our predictions of the stars and what we've come to recognize, our prediction in navigation, et cetera, like this, and we've come to recognize, let's say, like the rum line and stuff like this. So if we can agree that we're all looking at an optical phenomena, let's say at boats going over the horizon, it's almost a moot point for both sides, right, guys?
Well, I don't think so. I think that the base assumption that the Earth is a ball is based on the false assumption that the globe of the heavens, which is also an observed phenomena and can be measured out with all the angular relations on the Earth. And I think that it is drawing a false conclusion that the Earth must be a ball because of the physical literacy bias that people have about the globe of the heavens that we see. And if you automatically assume that they are physical in some way, in whatever way, then you could falsely draw the conclusion that thus the Earth must be a globe if it's physically in a literal position spinning around us. So it's an easy mistake to make. And the globe theorists that started out as philosophers abused that psychological effect to solidify the belief in the globe.
Well, what do you mean? Like, but what about if their observations confirmed, let's say, the shape? Like, if our observations are matching as we travel around the planet, that like for instance, that's why the southern pole star is such an interesting point, and the southern crux and all these different observations in the southern hemisphere, because they seem to show the potential for sphericity. You could agree with that, right?
Sorry, again?
That, like, let's say the southern stars below the equator, those stars suggest that we do live on a sphere, right?
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
No.
So you don't think? Or what about how come this then? How come the Babylonians, who were actually flat earthers, their star maps were spherical?
What?
Did you know that?
Their star maps weren't spherical?
No. Were spherical. Like they had their maps were laid out to, like, their mapping of the stars was a celestial sphere.
Yeah.
I think we get that idea from Babylonians who were themselves flat earthers.
If that is completely originally true and unedited, then yes. But hey, in my model, my flat Earth model, there is such a thing as the globe of the heavens. But it is because of physicality, literalism bias, that we then assume that because the globe of the heavens is indeed a spinning globe surrounding us, that the Earth must then also be a globe.
Well, that's the point, is that we're sharing a uniform. The hypothesis is that we share a uniform physics, a uniform science throughout the universe. And that's the thing, is that, like, if we do, this is where we have come to the conclusion that we may live on a ball before NASA, right? You know,
Yeah,
the idea that
but there is no confirmation that the things that we see at the edge of vision, that globe of the heavens, is indeed physical. There's actually
but check this out.
confirmation that it's not
Right, but where would
through high altitude observations.
Right, but if let's say we can't perceive the sphericity of the Earth at the altitudes that we can get our balloons at, then is that really a proof of flat Earth? Because I'm willing to say that the whole boat.
No, it's not. It's not that's the entire argument that I tried to make, and that is the globe of the heavens, the sightings, observations of the heavenly bodies and their angular relations to the position on the Earth is not proof. It's not proof for the shape of the Earth, not proof for a globe, and not proof for a model, any model on the flat Earth, right, whatever it may be. There is just no proof.
Right, but if we're deducing that, like, you know, we share this common science, and we've come under the understanding that we can all agree that we can't see. I mean, even all of us can agree, I think, that we can't see sphericity because we're too small to be able to see it. Now,
yeah, but that's an incorrect assumption. We should be. If you take the globe model literal, then you should definitely see a sphericity. And not only that, you should be able to measure it. And all we really get to see is optical phenomena that suggest there is some kind of curvature, but this is just an optical phenomena, and we can prove that through testing and observations and measurements that it's actually not a curve.
Okay, but how dare you use an optical phenomena to prove the shape of the Earth, though, right?
I don't.
So we have approximately half an hour left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly, however, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there is approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream.
Okay, what were you saying again?
I was saying, how dare you use optical phenomena to say that the Earth is flat?
Well, how dare you say that perspective is curvature?
Well, no, we're not. That's the point. I'm not anyway. I know these other guys. I know these other guys out here.
I don't like that you shove that assumption towards me, because I do not. I do not base.
The tough world, Darwin.
Yeah, tough world, but it's incorrect. I do not base my assumption that the world is flat based on observations.
But you got a rectangular looping model to show us?
It is a theoretical model.
So what
It is pure theory, and I have suggested experiments that could prove or disprove it. Doesn't seem that I claim that it is absolutely verifiably correct. It is just a model.
So Isaac, so what non visual proofs do you have of the ball?
Explain it again. Non-optical, you mean, or
non-optical, non-visual, anything?
I can't say that that's the case. I'm of the opinion that I think the reliance on the optical side of things is actually what's hurting both sides of this argument. Because I happen to think, like, if flat earthers are going to say that this optical thing shows the boat, in dealing with refraction and the optics and the angle of incidence and stuff like that, well, the issue is that so also too does the ball earth side. And the thing is that because we're dealing with this optical like, weather variation issue that's going on almost too far away from us to verify, I think, it's a moot point.
But it is not, because the weather conditions vary, and sometimes it is actually clear enough that you do get to see very, very far, which completely negates the literal physical globe model. That has to be very specific.
Yeah,
and we have proof against that.
Well, no.
Sorry,
Sorry, no. I was just going to say that I think Arthur does have a good point. Essentially, that if you take into account the curvature calcs, and then you look at the angular size change that you would expect to see on say the wind turbines, for instance, they work out pretty much the same. So wherever you're looking, if you look at the ocean, you can see curvature at the same point that you can also see perspective. It's the only time that we have the upper hand on any of this is when we can see further, when the weather conditions allow, and then they will turn around and say that is due to refraction. So I think the argument essentially boils down to, can refraction be proven?
Yes,
and can it be proven?
I think refraction. It just can it be proven to show what you want it to show?
Well, can it be proven to lift an entire city with everything looking perfect? No distortion on the buildings, no distortion on the windows, the towers. Everything is proportionate with it as you'd expect to look at it as a photograph. If you can show to me that refraction can lift up a city like a photograph and place it way up high, then I'll be happy with that. I'll say, okay then.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
Point.
It can't
no,
be.
But the point is
the effects of refraction can definitely be proven through optical experiments, and they have been.
But it never looks the same. Things can be refracted up, but it always looks different. You can make it out slightly. It could look like some kind of building, but it will be warped and distorted, stretched, all that kind of stuff. But it will physically be lifted ever so small. It won't be lifted a great deal.
Exactly.
That is
correct.
That's lifted up.
Assuming that an observation will be on a ball, if you miniaturize this and you then try to cause an effect that would cause this miraging, if you do it in small scale, you could emulate this scenario, and it will never look like that. It will never look like it actually does in the real world, which just disproves that it is an actual ball with a mirage reflecting it upward, because you cannot emulate that effect in a small scale. You just can't. You can show that there is some kind of miraging, but not that would yield that type of result.
Right, but aren't you speaking in absolutes, Arwen?
Yes, in this case I am.
And why would you do that if you were a scientist?
What? What do you mean?
Science is supposed to be about skepticism. So if you're going to speak in absolutes, it's antithetical to the.
I haven't seen anybody do that. I've seen people try to prove that there is miraging, that there is refraction through experiments. But there has been no.
You can't. You're speaking in absolutes for no reason. Then is that correct?
I have not. Look, proof is about a preponderance of evidence, you draw a certain conclusion from that. Please do not grill me on this, Nathan, or you guys. But until there is some distinct element that disproves that it is like that, then you have to take it as proof. And I have not seen anybody try to do an experiment small scale to prove that a mirage on a ball shape could be created that would show an observation that correlates with what we see on the Earth.
So, but basically, Arwen, you're trying to speak in absolutes about an optical phenomenon. Is that correct?
I'm talking about optics.
And so optics, like seeing color, is considered an optical phenomenon, right?
Yes.
Right. So the thing is that we're trying to base things on something that is to do with a perception of something. So there may be some kind of inconsistency. So therefore, it would be wise not to necessarily see it as an absolute.
No, the science of optics is absolute. It works the way it works.
But it has like many like things like mirages that make it inconsistent to be able to verify, right?
No, because a mirage
Are
can
you
be
telling me
emulated. This
optics
is about the
mirages
very workings
are
of what
optics
mirages are. No, you're taking this
mirages
all the wrong
optics?
way.
Are
Mirages
optics?
can be emulated. You can actually create experiments to prove mirages, but you can then take the result of how the mirages are observed in the experiments and use that and compare that to what we observe on the Earth.
Right, and you could use it to justify any belief you wanted, right?
No, you cannot.
Can you share my screen, Nathan? I just want to run this by Isa. You let me know when I'm sharing, Nathan. Right, can you see this, Isa?
I can see it, yeah.
Right, can you see these wind turbines that are turning here? These are 30 to 34 miles away, some of them. Right, let me stop at this one here. Right, this is once we get past this part here. These big ones here, the 30 miles away, right? The curvature count should be at the hub here, right?
This is not visible on the Hangout, by the way.
What do you mean? Is Nathan there?
He's not presenting this.
I am. I just had a minor sound issue. I was just sorting that out. I'll show you.
So these turbines up to the hub should be gone beyond the curve, right? So when we're looking at this and we're thinking about refraction and stuff, this would have to be loomed up and refracted, right? And then the turbines twisting would have to be refracted and loomed up too. So what would your position be on this particular visual that you're looking at now?
I would say at the idea is that at 1 degree of arc of curvature of the Earth is 69 miles. So my estimation from this point would be that is the evidence of obstruction. But because it's too far away, it's an optical issue and a moot point.
A moot point? There's nothing moot about it when you look at the curvature calcs and it says that up to if you live on a ball, then the hub of the turbine should be on the horizon. And clearly, I mean, these turbines are the biggest ones in the world. You know, there's 300 feet of missing curvature here.
Well, according to who, though?
The curvature calcs.
Right, but by who?
What do you mean, by who?
Like who? Metabunk or something?
Anybody's curvature calcs. If you have a ball and the circumference of the ball, you know what the distance is, you can work out what the drop should be, what the refracted hidden should be, and what the hidden should be. You can work that all out.
If the 8 inches per mile squared, does that comport, do you believe that comports with the 69 miles and 1 degree of arc of curvature?
Well, before you go and say what you're going to say, are you actually now going to say that the curvature calcs, the 8 inch per mile squared, that the ball earthers have been relying on for the past 30 years, is now not accurate?
For the last 30 years? What do you mean 30 years?
Oh,
I only saw.
Right.
Well, how long has that image been around for the 8 inches per mile squared?
Well, come on, answer the question. Are you now saying that after all this time arguing about the 8 inch per mile squared and the curvature calcs and the hidden, that you're now going to say that actually we got that wrong and we now need to do some kind of arc calculation?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that, yeah, we may have been led down the garden path on that one. And my thing is that, if there is a bigger, there is an alternative way to look at these things without, let's say, the 8 inches per, what if it's like a limited hangout that Metabunk and everybody's got this 8 inches per mile squared bullshit going on, and it's actually 69 miles, and there's no really fucking way to tell whether or not.
Swearing.
Forgive me.
Try not to.
Forgive me. There's no way to, and I'll leave if I go too far. You don't have to kick me. You just tell me I gotta go, and I'll go. But the idea of using that optical experiment, I think maybe something that's more of a hindrance, because what we're doing is we're dealing with light and matter at a position that's too far away for us to verify. The only way to do it that I've come up with is the idea that we would need Doppler radars over the boat with a distance, you know what I mean, with distance, and we'd have to take in all those measurements and all those things into account. And
Well,
if we
you
did
said
It's
that,
very
thing is-
funny that you mentioned that, because there have been testimonies about radar scanning away very accurately for 1,000 miles.
where's the data?
I don't have it, but there's been testimonies
So, you
from
know, so
people
I can
in the
make a claim, but
military.
that's like me making a
Mark
claim.
Sargent
saying-
brought it forth.
Hold on, I know, but that's like me making the claim that, you know, it's like, you know, Santa Claus put the tooth under my pillow. It's like,
yeah,
you know, it's the idea like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
just-
Well, I don't want to get
you're
distracted. I
not.
don't want to get
Yet
distracted
you're not a
from the point.
military officer on a
Arwin.
ship that has that. So
are
Arwin.
you? Hold on, Arwin, are you?
no, I am not.
Then how can you verify that?
Well, I trust Mark Sargent in
Okay,
this
so you
case to
trust
have
somebody.
actually
Now, hold on,
interviewed
so
that
now flat
person.
earthers, hold on, so now flat earthers trust people?
Depends.
Hang on.
Depends what?
Can we get back to the point?
Don't trust them
If I had a
blindly.
rectangular looping model, would you then put your faith in me?
I'm with Ranty.
What?
Can we get back on track?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying now that the 8 inch per mile squared isn't an accurate representation for working out curvature on the Earth, and that we should consider something different. Do you want to explain what that is, and how that works, and how it's different to the 8 inch per mile squared?
Well, I'm saying that if there may be, you're dealing. My main point of contention is that you're dealing with, your eyesight to observe something that is far away from you, too far away to get your hands on. And so the thing is that when we do that, much like I take for instance, like, you know, why we believe that the sun is 93 million miles away, right? It's like you can't establish the firm baseline to confirm that. Like, I'll admit that. But the issue is that all of the evidence that we live in a uniform system of physics leads us to calculate that those are the numbers. And that's the point, is that there is if there is a congruity in nature,
But
then we
isn't
have
that
to recognize that potentially we are spherical over here.
right?
We can
So
all
how
admit
do you
that-
work
how about
out
this?
that?
How
So
about this?
how
My
do you
question-
work out the
real quick.
calculations?
Real quick. Could we not admit that there is enough evidence to lead one to believe we live on a sphere?
No, I want to go and I want to ask you about this 8 inch per
So
mile
you won't
squared.
admit that? Hold on, though, real quick.
No, I
It's a
want to
yes or
get
no.
this point sorted first, and then we can do whatever you want. Because
Sure.
I brought up this video which shows that the hub here should be where the water line is here on the horizon. You know, it should be obscured, right? And we're seeing 300 feet of this turbine that we shouldn't see. And you just turned around and said that something about an arc calculation.
Yeah, how far away are the, what do you call it?
The wind turbines. This one,
Yeah.
I believe, is 31 miles away.
Okay, and you think at 30 miles away, you can verify anything about that wind turbine?
Well, I can drive down the coast and keep my eye on this turbine the entire
I can go to
distance.
McDonald's right now and get a breakfast special. The point is that can you identify something that's 30 miles away that you can't get your hands on? You can't. I mean, do you think you can?
If
Yeah,
I
you
was to
can
get
go
my
over
ticket,
to it
of course
and then get your hands on it. This is a very silly point, Asa.
No, my point is that optically, you're dealing with an optical observation.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
you
not
can
a
go
stationary
there
object.
and
Hold on,
then
the purpose thing,
confirm
Arwin,
these
Arwin,
things in
Arwin.
person physically.
Arwin, you can't do it simultaneously while you're 30 miles away, though, right?
No, but you can go afterward there.
So why are you
It's-
using an
and
observation
We are
from 30
assuming
miles
that it's still going to be there, and then you
Arwin,
can
Arwin.
confirm it is.
Yeah, my point is that these are moving, right? What I'm saying is the arms of this, the turbine blades or whatever, they're moving around. You can see them. How is that possibly? How can that be if it's loomed up? It's either loomed up or it's flatter.
Hold on.
One is it?
Ranty, do you understand the complexity of this?
Now,
How
is it
can
down
you
to
identify?
perspective?
Ranty, how can you identify anything that's 30 miles away with you going through air density?
Huh? I know which turbines these are. I have them all
I don't
mapped
give a
out
shit.
on
It's
Google
30
Earth.
miles away from you at the time you took the photo, right?
Well, it's a video.
Okay, well, the photo, video, whatever, tomato. The thing is that, like, if you are 30 miles away from something,
Yeah.
it's insanity to think that you could clarify or define anything that's 30 miles away, even if you can drive up to it and
No,
say, no, look
that's
at
a
it.
ridiculous,
yeah, it is.
It's a fact of
hypothesis.
nature, you fools,
No,
man.
no,
It's-
you
it's
are
something 30
completely
miles away
making
from
a
you.
fool of yourself, Isa. This is a non-argument. This is ridiculous.
That's
of
why it's
course,
moot.
you can identify.
We
things.
can
why it's
see.
moot.
We
Hold
can
on, hold
see
on,
the
As
Arwen.
long
wind
as you
turbines.
can
We
Did
know
I
make
not
what
say
they
that
are.
this was a
distinct,
moot point, you
distinct
fucking
elements
alien?
about it, you
Dude,
can
pardon me,
identify
should I
it.
go?
No, we know that these are wind turbines. We know which ones they are. We know how far away they are. The curvature calcs say that this is where the turbine should be, up to the hub, right? But we're seeing 300 feet below that. That's what I'm saying. How is that consistent on a ball? And then you said something about, how do I know the curvature calcs? Did I use Metabunk? And you said you had something different to put forth.
Isa is basically making the argument that you just can't really confirm anything at a certain distance, and that is a
Right.
ridiculous assumption. That's a ridiculous assumption. You can backtrack it. You can backtrack these things. You can compare
Arwen,
it
oh, no,
with
Arwen,
the data
oh, no,
that
no,
is
Arwen,
already
unless-
available.
Maybe it's
And you-
the elf vision. I don't know, dog. But the point is that anyone logically
No,
can admit
don't
that at 30
patronize me,
miles
dude.
away, you can't frickin' see or define anything, dude.
No, that is a ridiculous statement. You can't see anything. What a ridiculous statement.
Well, I can
Come on,
see those
Isa, you
wind
can do better than
turbines.
this.
And I can see them turning. I can see these wind turbines, and I can see the blades moving around. Now that tells me that that isn't loomed up. That tells me that I'm actually looking at these. You can see them moving.
Good for you.
Yeah.
The point
It
is
good
that
for us.
at 30 miles
it's
away,
a
dude,
question.
you
What
might be.
about-
Hold on, look at it like this. Hold on. Could you agree that you might, you just might, there's a possibility that you might be looking at a slight amount of obstruction due to the 69 miles per 1 degree of arc of curvature? Or would you rather die on that hill?
It might be possible if it
Okay,
was
then that's
actually
what I'm
there.
asking for. I'm saying,
No,
give
but
me a.
no, you're
But
making
no.
this in a completely mental gymnastic nonsense soup.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
essentially.
Yes, you are. You're making it in a mental gymnastic soup.
So
It
you've
doesn't
gone
make
back
any
to
sense
the
what you're
No,
ball.
I'm being honest about it, Arwen.
No, you're not.
Give it
You're
a shot.
convoluting it. You're completely convoluting the entire thing.
So let me get this right, Isa. You've gone back to the ball, and you've now turned against the 8-inch per mile
Well,
squared.
right
You're
now,
now
right now,
going
right now.
to
Well,
back
no,
to-
hold on. I just want to clarify. My official position, if anyone would like to know, is worth $10,000. But I'm here
Right.
today to argue for the ball.
Right, we'll argue this then. 8-inch per mile squared, yes or no?
8 inches per mile squared. It's an it's a postulated way to calculate the shape of the Earth. Yes, but I don't know that it's valid.
So why are you bringing up an arc calculation then? If
Well, I'm
everybody
bringing
else seems to
Those are the
agree
options.
that the
Those are
8
the
inch per
options
mile
that I know
squared
of.
is correct.
Listen,
What?
this is why, because those are the options that I'm aware of.
Well, Isa, you basically just declared that beyond 30 miles, you just can't see
Okay.
anything.
So what would
That's
the
ridiculous.
curve be on one arc degree over 30 miles? What would the curvature calc say then?
I don't know. Where's Rumpus?
Come on now, so you've got to do
No,
better.
I don't know.
than
No, what I'm trying to say. Look. I don't know it down
You
to the
can't
inches.
bring up something
It may.
and
Hold
then
on.
not know what
Listen,
it is.
Ranty. The 1 inch degree, or the arc of curvature, whatever, the 1 mile, 1 degree, or 69 miles, 1 degree, may very well convert to the 8 inches per mile squared. Okay, it seems a lot of these guys have accepted that.
I
My
have
point, and listen,
Feeling
okay,
it probably
so-
won't.
okay. Well, my thing is right. If it's bigger, it then it could be different. But my point is that we have to be honest about the idea that at 30 miles away, we cannot confirm nor deny something optically.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my God, bro.
That's absolutely ridiculous, man.
I tell you, I almost feel like we'll have a general consensus in the chat, even not that it matters. I don't want to put it on out there, but really, the point is, Arwen, I'm just saying that you'd have to agree that there's possibility that at 30 miles away, you might not be able to really detect shit using your eyes.
Well,
That's all
using
I'm
my
saying.
eyes, maybe, but using actual optical instruments,
Well, wouldn't you be
you
using your eyes to
definitely
look
can.
Are you using your eyes to look through the optical instruments?
Not literally, but
Not literally. Hold on, Arwen. Now you sound like you're out of this world, dude. The point
No.
is that
No,
oh my
I'm
God,
not.
Arwen. Arwen, you're not. Okay,
The
maybe it's a
optical
language
instruments in this case are recording visuals, and you can then study those visuals through their output. You're not literally looking through the camera lens, okay?
This is why you guys get beat up and make this idea look
No,
stupid.
we're not
You
getting
understand that,
beat
right?
up. You're making no sense.
No,
You're
I see. You're not
convoluting
arguing
everything.
very well. I'll be honest with you, mate.
Dude, you're the one trying to claim that you can verify what something is 30 miles away from you. You look like
Of course
a
you
fool,
can.
right?
Yeah,
You
you
know
can.
where it is. You know what it looks like. You're seeing it move. You know it's there, and you're videoing it.
Yeah, there are ways to confirm that it is there. Just because you see something, and if you don't know anything about it, and you're not inquiring information about that location and whatever's supposed to be there, then yes, you cannot be sure what it is. But you can actually research it and then confirm that the observed phenomena is something. So you can definitely
they're not intangible
confirm
objects.
that
These
something
are,
is there 30
these things
miles
are
away.
tangible. They're not like the stars. They're tangible.
Exactly. Thank
Right,
you.
okay, I'll give you that they're not tangible, that they may be tangible, you can go there. But my point is, at 30 miles away from you, are they tangible still? At 30 miles away?
Yeah. Are
Yeah,
you
I mean,
saying that there's a matrix and then
physically-
beyond
hold on,
30
Arwen,
miles,
Arwen,
everything is
can
no
you-
longer physical? Is that what you're
Pardon my
saying,
language,
Isa?
by the way. Pardon my language today. What I'm saying is, dude, is that if something is 30 miles away from you, unless you are Mr. Stretch from the comics, you can't reach it.
Well, you're now falling back onto a matrix theory where you're basically declaring that everything
I'm being
beyond
honest
30
about the
miles is no
facts,
longer
Arwen.
physical, okay?
Arwen, I'm
That's
being
ridiculous.
honest about the facts that you cannot, what you're perceiving is you cannot put your hands on it. Therefore, you can't verify all the discrepancies. Now, granted, how tall it is, all that stuff, yeah, you can go find out, measure it, and rest. Point is that at 30 miles away, it's something that you're dealing on a part of your senses. You know, what do they say? You know, don't believe anything you, like, you know, none of what you hear and half of what you see. The point is that when something is 30 miles away, relying on your optical ability.
Yeah, but the point is, it's either looming or we're seeing it. It's one or the other. It's not. There's no in between. There's no room for in between. It's either we see it because it's there, or it's loomed up. That's it. That's the only two arguments to this. Is this? We're looking over 30 miles of water, and we're seeing these wind turbines.
The ball model doesn't leave any room for flexibility in how to interpret
Exactly. This
it.
is exactly what I'm trying to say. There's
Well,
no
what I'm
room
trying
for
to say is that
flexibility.
flexibility comes into play because you're dealing with optics, because you can't verify what's 30 miles away.
So is it loomed?
Ridiculous, man.
So essentially, you're saying it's loomed, and I'm going to say to you, well,
it's looming. I'm saying maybe.
Well, what is it then? Because
I'm saying our perception of the things in front of us may be skewed to the point that we are not fully taking into account that. And this is all I'm trying to say is that, look, the hypothesis is that we share a common nature and science with the universe. And when we look out into the stars and all this thing, it appears that these things find sphericity eventually. Now, with that said, now if we're this terra firma and we're going to accept that, let's say we're in a universe, let's say, I mean, granted, that may be the argument, you might want to take it to right there. But the point is that, like, if we are optically using these measurements and these kinds of things, we could very well be deceived regarding the results because we're using the eyes.
Yeah, but we're using
You're stretching it now, okay? You don't need an argument to stretch this. You're stretching the argument into total and utter convolution. It's ridiculous.
No, I'm being honest about the optics.
Well, the optics is that it was a video recording. It's been recorded by video. So it's not my eyes that are an issue because it's the video that's recorded this. I'm just observing it afterwards, after the fact. You're observing it after the fact. If I was there and I said, "Oh, I saw something that's 30 miles away," prove it, and I didn't have this evidence, I couldn't prove it. But the simple fact is, you're looking at it just as I was looking at it on that day.
Yeah, and I'm saying that it may very well appear to be, or what I'm saying is that what even like some of these guys that are talking like, oh, there should be the bulge and all this stuff like that. I don't know if that would be accurate due to the nature of the way that we're observing the world we're living in.
You're not making a very good, solid argument for the ball here, but I admire the attempt.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, if you're going to rely on the optics of something 30 miles away, I'm saying you might be winding in a sketchy situation, especially against the whole academic institution that is.
You are correct there, but
hold on. That is
not hold on. You are correct that there may be some difficulties, but that's why you actually cross-reference it. That is why you confirm what is really there to figure out if the assumption at first about the observation is what you think it is. You don't just take a picture and then say, oh, this is it. Yeah, that's it, and not do anything to confirm it. That's just a weird assumption on your part there. So
well, no, I'm just being honest
would be
about
a distance
the optical effect.
So okay then. So what would be a distance that you would be happy with?
Well, that's the thing is that, like, if we have, I don't know what what the eyes are necessarily gonna like, if we're
all right.
We're filming,
well, if we can't use our eyes, what senses shall we use?
Well, hold on. I'm saying if what we could beginning to see there, in reality, outside of all this debate stuff and back to the just looking at the things, is we may be dealing with the evidence of the obstruction of an arc that begins, a beginning arc away from us. And that what we perceive to be and what our mental picture of what this 26,000 mile circumference, or 24,900 circumference would look like is actually much bigger than we think it is. And that's what I'm trying to say. Is I don't know if the calculations that we've got on all this stuff is correct.
Right.
Never mind.
Right. I said before you finish. Right. Listen. So if you're saying that it's actually bigger than we think it is, then what's NASA done? What the hell is NASA doing then?
What do you mean?
Well, why are they saying that we've been to the moon? Why are they videoing the Earth? Why, if we're living on something twice as big, are they not telling us this?
Well, I'm not saying they live on something twice as big. I'm saying that maybe we have a faulty understanding of the numbers.
Again, so you're saying that the 8 inch per mile squared is incorrect?
It may be. I don't know if that would be I don't know if that would necessarily be the correct calculation over a body of water. I just don't know. And my thing is that, if we're going to make the assumptions and go against, let's say, the whole standard, because what I'm trying to say is that the hypothesis that we're sharing, the hypothesis of the academic model, from what I gather, is that we live in a uniform system. And that this system would lead us to believe, especially through looking at the stars and looking at, let's say, purposes like, through navigation where they have to take into account different effects of the stars, that, the Earth may be spherical. And this is what modern, these are the culmination of the great men that have come before us. And if we go and read their books and we're honest about the rich history of these matters, then we'll discover that, flat Earth has some validity, and that a lot of the people the Babylonians who mapped the zodiac were flat earthers. They also predicted solar and lunar eclipses. And then one day I would hope maybe people would understand that really there's a great conversation to be had about gravity and gravitation.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. And also a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!